I have said this before. There's a lot of people on the left who think they are like the bee's knees when it comes to politics, and only if they were in power and they were listening to us would we somehow become this amazing socialist state overnight. Wouldn't it be fantastic? Well, yeah, they had their candidate and he lost twice. And moreover, they don't even want to revive or have a look at why Momentum was so successful. Maybe replicate its more successful ideas or look at where it went wrong and how can it improve on those. There's no desire to have a thoughtful relook or examination about what it did well and what it didn't. Instead, what's happened? Well, I have to laugh at this. Recently, as you may know, we had a bit of a conversation with No Justice in which she said, "Oh, well, I've left the Labour Party and I've now joined the Green Party." Well, guess what happened recently? There was a bit of a kerfuffle where a MP who was standing for the Green Party turned out a couple of years ago she was a constituent of one Jeremy Corbyn who dared to tweet out the fact that he wasn't a good MP and that maybe instead of going for all these PR opportunities, he should spend more time in his constituency listening to his people. And oh no, the new intake of all these new lefties who have left the Labour Party to join the Green Party didn't like that and have started a now continuous campaign calling for them to be deselected because, well, they don't like that. To which I saw No Justice saying, but this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. This is what Labour did. To which I have to say, you just probably ignored everything Momentum did when they tried to get Labour MPs deselected. Sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they failed, or more failed than they succeeded. Again, all that is a lot of stuff is ignored. But one of the reasons why I do call the left, or at least that section of the left, really bad on politics is that they laugh at a lot of good, solid Labour policies that actually had worked and had good outcomes. One of those policies that is often laughed at is Sure Start centres. And I'm just going to read a letter that was sent, or at least sent into a newspaper, talking about Sure Start centres, about how good they could be. Because not only is this Sure Start centres, restarting them, cheaper than the alternative that Keir Starmer actually put forward recently, but would actually be better and has proven outcomes and has been proven to work and brought really good benefits to thousands of poor communities up and down the UK. So we should be advocating for restarting these Sure Start centres, and those people on the left should maybe think again when they laugh at ideas like Sure Start centres. No, they had good outcomes. It was a good policy. It was a good idea. And unfortunately, one of the many, many victims of Tory austerity. So we're going to go over this letter because I think it just goes to show you how good this policy really was and why Labour should absolutely talk about reviving it. But before we do go that, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There is the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the Pony Club as well down below. So let's go and have a look at this letter. So this letter was written by one Dr. Sebastian Karma, who had this to say. So, in defense of the nanny state, Keir Starmer walks right into the objections that are often raised against it, which is that the government should not try to change behavior, such as eating the right food or cleaning your teeth, where Starmer embraced the nanny state with a plan for toothbrushing lessons in schools back on the 10th of January. Wherein of these worthy proposals is, of course, an understanding of how children actually develop. Most of us know it in our hearts that the better you are looked after, the better the result. This is not a form, this is not from instruction, but through attentive care, and the capacity of which is undermined by poverty and insecurity. So why is Labour not restoring its most inspired social provision for under fives, Sure Start? This was set up back in 1998 with the Treasury funding with the brilliant Irish-born civil servant Norman Glass, who made sure that Whitehall colleagues from different departments collaborated in its design and that parents became active partners in the communities it created. As long as children's centres were fully funded, they were successful. But this was not convincingly demonstrated until a decade after Conservative authority came in and started closing them. This was the first laying waste of the rest of the social fabric on which the families then relied on. Starmer's proposal to end the mental health crisis, mentioned in an article, of saying that Britain has suffered terribly under the Tories, especially children, is only 8,500 more mental health staff in the system. But this is already too late. By studying the rates of mental health and physical hospital admissions, the Institute for Fiscal Studies showed that in 2021, that the poorest children in these sure start areas made the greatest gains in health right into their teens. Besides saving more than a third of the cost of the whole program, this outcome is just the tip of the iceberg for the socially promoted resilience. It is nothing to do with a nanny state. A children's centre is more than a location for doing things for families. It is also a micro where they and the staff do things for each other. As the former early Shadow Secretary Minister Kate Green put it in 2021, those mums that got to know one another at Sure Start are still the bedrock of our community. So again, we should be restarting these Sure Start centres. We should be restarting them. This should be a prime candidate and something that Labour should focus on. If it worked before, hey, it's going to work again. And if you look at the outcomes in these poor areas, bear in mind, we're laughed at. I want to make this absolutely clear. There were a lot of people on the left saying that these Sure Start centres weren't positive, weren't effective. It was just a waste of time for Labour to indulge in these things. But after we saw Conservative austerity come in and we saw these centres close, we then started to see the damage to the social fabric that these centres had brought to these communities, these poor communities, for years, and now they just disappeared overnight. This is one of the big things you constantly hear in especially in this area and around areas like this. Where are all the mums groups? Where are all the centres for mothers to sort of go out and get the information to sort of gather together? They're not funded anymore. And if they are, they're very small, or they don't last, or they don't tend to last long when they do, because it's not a permanent thing. You know, it has shown that it was a good policy, it had good outcomes. It is something that we should restart and something that we should do. And to be honest, there's a lot of people on the left that should stop laughing and poo-pooing this idea, because I don't see your ideas coming forward of what you think, Labour should do and how we can improve, young kids' mental health, well-being, and of course, help improve their communities at the same time. I don't tend to see that too much. Instead, I see you whine and complain more about more than anything else. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.